Good morning, dear students. This is your teacher Neela Mehlawat, and today we'll continue chapter 21, that is neural control and coordination. Now, in this particular video, dear students, we will be talking about the human neural system. Neural system basically means your nervous system. So, in this particular video, we'll be talking about the human nervous system. Okay, we will talk about the human nervous system. And dear students, we know that nervous system is basically made up of your neurons, right? So nervous system is basically made up of the neurons. Now coming to the human neural system. Your human neural system is comprised of two systems. One is CNS, another is the PNS. CNS means the central nervous system and the PNS means the peripheral nervous system. The CNS is further comprised of the brain and the spinal cord. So your central nervous system is made up of two parts, brain and the spinal cord. Now brain, dear students, is the main central processing organ of your body. Brain is the most important organ of your body and it acts as a command and control system. Okay, your brain acts as a command and control system. Okay, it acts as a command and control system. So which organ acts as a command and control system? The brain acts as a command and a control system. And it controls your voluntary movements, your balance in the body, your hunger, thirst, your 24-hour rhythm in the body. Okay, there is a particular you can say circadian rhythm that continues in your body. That particular rhythms are also controlled by your brain, right? Okay, now let's talk about the human brain in detail, right? What are the various components of the brain and what are the various functions the different components perform? So we will be talking about the parts of the brain and their functions today. Now, first of all, the brain is protected in the cranial cavity. Your brain, it is present in your cranial cavity and cranial cavity protects your brain. Secondly, it is protected by three layers and those three layers they are referred to as menings. Okay, the three layers that protect your brain are referred to as cranial menings. Okay, so there are three layers. The outermost layer is called the dura mater. Middle layer is called arachnoid. Third layer is called pia mater. And now as you can look into the diagram, just look at and identify the three layers. These are the three layers. First is your dura mater. That is the outermost layer. Okay. The outermost layer is called the dura mater. Right. Similarly, this particular portion is comprised of all your three layers. And in between these three layers, there is a fluid present. And that fluid is called cerebrospinal fluid. So between the three layers, that is your arachnoid, pia mater and dura mater, there is a fluid present and that fluid is called cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, that fluid is called cerebrospinal fluid. Clear, everyone? And the ventricles of the brain, they are also filled with cerebrospinal fluid, that is CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. So you can easily locate some of your ventricles. Ventricles means your cavities in the brain. Like fourth ventricle you can observe here. So this fourth ventricle is also filled with CSF, that is cerebrospinal fluid. Clear, everyone? So your brain is protected by the skull, right? Brain is protected by the skull. Inside the skull, it is protected by the three layers. The three layers, they are together called the menings. The outermost is called dura mater. Middle layer is called arachnoid. Inner layer is called pia mater. And when the space between these layers, okay, the space between these layers is filled with a fluid which is called cerebrospinal fluid, and the cavities in the brain, they are called ventricles, and the ventricles are also filled with CSF. Now your brain, dear students, the human brain can basically divide into three basic portions: the forebrain, midbrain and the hindbrain, right? So you can look into the diagram. This particular portion is your forebrain, then you have this is your middle brain, and then you have hindbrain. So brain can be divided into three basic portions: forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Now coming to the forebrain, okay, the first portion of the brain, which is called the forebrain. The forebrain is also called as prosencephalon, okay. In biology, it is also called as prosencephalon. In simple terms, we call it as forebrain, and in biological term, we call it as prosencephalon, right? Now this is the anterior most part of the brain. ये सबसे पहला part होता है, and this particular part is made up of cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. So there are three parts of the forebrain: cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. The thalamus and hypothalamus, they are together known as diencephalon. So you can look into the diagram. This particular portion is your forebrain. Forebrain consists of your cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus, right? So forebrain is made up of three parts, right? Cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. Now coming to the first part, that is your cerebrum. Let's talk about the cerebrum, dear students. Now cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. जो cerebrum है आपका, ये largest part होता है brain का, clear? And it is made up of two cerebral hemispheres. ये दो है cerebral hemispheres का बना होता है. And these cerebral hemispheres, they constitute a number of folds. जो cerebral hemispheres है, इनके अंदर जो material है, that is in the form of numerous folds. तो आपका जो cerebrum है, इसका structure, it basically resembles to the walnut. ठीक है, अखरोट का जो structure होता है वो बिल्कुल resemble करता है आपके brain के structure से. So cerebrum is the largest part of the brain, and it is made up of two cerebral hemispheres, and the two cerebral hemispheres, they are joined with each other with the help of this, which is called as corpus callosum. What do we call it as? Corpus callosum, right? So दो cerebral hemispheres हैं, दोनों cerebral hemispheres जो हैं वो एक दूसरे से connected हैं, joined है एक tract से, एक tract of nerve fibers, and that tract of nerve fibers is called corpus callosum. Now the outermost region of the cerebrum is consist of cortex. जो आपका बाहर का region होता है cerebral hemispheres का, उसको हम cortex कहते हैं, and it is thrown into numerous folds. As you can see in the diagram, you can see that there are number of folds in the outermost region of the cerebrum, and it is called cerebral cortex. Okay, this is called the cerebral cortex, and it is formed of gray matter. Okay, it is referred to as a gray matter because due to the appearance of its gray color. ये जो बाहर का portion है इसकी appearance gray होती है because it is grayish in appearance. इसका color grayish होता है. Okay, clear? And why it has a gray color? Because the cell bodies of the neuron, they are concentrated here. Large amount of, you can say, neurons are present here. आपके corpus, you can say the cortex में, corpus, जो outermost region है, that is called the cerebral cortex. It consists of large number of neurons, and because of the presence of large number of neurons, this particular portion appears gray, and it is said to have a gray matter, and it has number of folds, which we called as convulsions and depressions. The innermost region, अंदर का जो region है, innermost region is referred to as cerebral medulla, right? And this particular portion is referred to as white matter. So cerebral cortex is referred to as gray matter, while the medulla part is referred to as is thought to have the white portion, that is called as a white matter, right? Clear, everyone? Okay, let's move further. Now coming to the further, this cerebrum portion, it consists of motor area. इसके अंदर एक motor area है. Functions की बात कर रहे हैं हम आपके forebrain के, right? So it basically has a motor area. As you look into diagram, this particular portion is called the motor area, and this motor area, it controls your voluntary movement of the muscles, right? ये आपके muscles की movement को control करता है. Then there is a sensory area. As you can see here, there is a sensory area, the green portion. In the diagram, this green portion, the diagram represents your sensory area. Okay, and the red portion represents your motor area. ये जो red portion है, ये आपका motor area है. Green portion is your sensory area. And this sensory area, it controls your sense organs. Like, it controls your eyesight, it controls your smell. You smell through your nose, isn't it? Your hearing portion, right? Your taste portion. So this green area basically indicates your the areas of the sensory organs, like your eyes, nose, tongue, your skin. And this purple area represents your association area. Okay, the purple area represents your association area, and this area basically is responsible for intersensory associations like memory and communication. So this particular area, it is responsible for the complex functions like your intersensory association, like how does two senses communicate with each other. Suppose kariye your ears, your eyes. So the communication between these two organs, that will be controlled by your association area. Okay, and your memory and your communication, that is controlled by your association area in the cerebrum. So cerebrum basically controls your motor area, sensory area, association area. Okay, and then coming to your thalamus part. Second part is your thalamus. First part is your cerebrum. Now second part is your thalamus. Now thalamus, it is a structure around which the cerebrum wraps. ये एक ऐसा स्ट्रक्चर है जिसके चारों तरफ आपका थैलेमस जो है वो एक ऐसा एरिया है जिसके चारों तरफ आपका सेरेब्रम रैप्ड होता है. As you can see in the diagram, see this. So this particular portion is your thalamus. और थैलेमस के चारों तरफ आपका cerebral hemispheres हैं. ये दोनों आपके cerebral hemispheres हैं. This is the first hemisphere and this is the second hemisphere. तो दो cerebral hemispheres हैं. As you can see from the center, right? This is called the corpus callosum. जो connection बीच में है वो corpus callosum है. Clear? So thalamus basically वो एरिया है, वो स्ट्रक्चर है जिसके चारों तरफ आपका forebrain present होता है. And this thalamus, it is basically a controlling center for the sensory and motor impulses. तो ये आपके sensory और motor impulses को control करता है. Now coming to the next portion, which is called the hypothalamus. As I told you, dear students, forebrain basically is made up of three portions: cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. So this is the third part, which is called the thalamus. Now this thalamus, it lies at the base of thalamus. Hypothalamus जो है ये आपके thalamus के base पर present होता है. ये आपका thalamus है. At its base there is a hypothalamus. Same you can look into the first diagram. This is your hypothalamus. Okay, clear? Is it clear to everyone? So at the base of the thalamus there is hypothalamus, and this particular hypothalamus portion, it contains number of centers. Okay, it has certain centers which control your body temperature, the thirst, the hunger and the emotions. Right? It produces an urge of eating and drinking. ये आपके अंदर भूख, आपको भूख लग रही है, आपके ऐसे emotions को control करता है. And it also secretes certain hypothalamic hormones. It also controls your pituitary gland. It controls your sleep. Okay? It controls your wakefulness. कितना आपको नींद आती है, कितना जल्दी, किस वक्त पर आप उठते हैं, ये जो complete cycle है, that is being controlled by hypothalamus. Your blood pressure and your heart rate. So hypothalamus is basically a very important center in the brain, right? And it also contains number of neurosecretory cells, right? It contains number of neurosecretory cells, okay? and these neurosecretory cells, they produce the various hormones. So hypothalamus के अंदर neurosecretory cells present है, and these cells, they will release the hypothalamic hormones. Okay everyone, right? Now, inner part of your cerebral hemispheres, as I told you, there are two cerebral hemispheres. This is a connection which is called corpus callosum. तो inner part जो है आपका cerebral hemispheres का, it is associated with deep structures. Okay, it is further associated with certain structures which is called amygdala, right? Hippocampus, right? Then your limbic system और your thalamus and hypothalamus. So अंदर की साइड से ये आपके डिफरेंट ऑर्गन से डीप स्ट्रक्चर से कनेक्टेड है, जिसको हम एक वन ऑफ देम इज एमिडला, हिप्पोकैम्पस, हाइपोथैलेमस, ओके, हाइपोथैलेमस एंड योर थैलेमस, एंड ऑल दीज टुगेदर, ये चारों स्ट्रक्चर्स आपका मिलकर बनाते हैं लिम्बिक सिस्टम, और वी कॉल इट एज लिम्बिक लोब. सो ऑल दीज स्ट्रक्चर्स दे टुगेदर फॉर्म द लिम्बिक सिस्टम, right? And this particular limbic system, so limbic system is made up of 4 components: thalamus, hippocampus, amygdala and hypothalamus, right? And these all 4 structures, they are together called the limbic system, and limbic system controls your sexual behavior, your motivations, your emotions like your excitement, pleasure, rage, fear. तो जितने आपकी बॉडी के अंदर इमोशंस प्रोड्यूस होते हैं, अगर आप डर जाते हैं, if you feel very good, you become motivated to do something. If you feel enjoyable, if there is excitement to do any work, right? So all these emotions, they are controlled by a limbic system, right? Now coming to the second part of the brain, which is called the midbrain. Now dear students, midbrain is also called as mesencephalon, right? Midbrain is also called as mesencephalon. Now just look at the diagram, you can identify this particular portion is called your midbrain. Okay, this particular portion is referred to as your midbrain. Now it is located between the thalamus and hypothalamus. ये जो आपकी midbrain है, ये thalamus और hypothalamus and pons के बीच में present है. And there is a canal which is present here. यहाँ पे आपके midbrain में एक canal present होती है, and that canal is called सेरेब्रल एक्विडक्ट. यहाँ पर एक कैनाल प्रेजेंट है आपके मिड ब्रेन में, जिसको हम कहते हैं सेरेब्रल एक्विडक्ट. ओके, सो अ कैनाल पासेस थ्रू योर मिड ब्रेन. ओके, एंड द नेम ऑफ द कैनाल इज cerebral aqueduct. As you can see in the picture, your cerebral aqueduct is indicated here. So midbrain, the mid portion of the brain, it is present between the thalamus, hypothalamus and the pons, and it contains a canal which is called cerebral aqueduct. Then your mid portion basically is formed of 4 round lobes. आपका जो mid portion है उसमें 4 lobes हैं, 4 swellings हैं. Okay, there are 4 swellings, and all these swellings, they are together called as corpora quadrigemina. Okay, छोटी छोटी 4 swellings हैं, और इन चारों swellings को हम इकट्ठा मिलाकर कहते हैं corpora quadrigemina. Clear? Corpora quadrigemina, right? And this anterior portion, the inner portion of this controls your visual reflexes and your auditory reflexes. So basically आपका corpora quadrigemina का जो anterior part है, that controls your vision as well as your auditory. Auditory means सुनना, तो आपके देखने और सुनने की क्षमता को कंट्रोल करता है. Third is your hindbrain. Hindbrain is called as rhombencephalon. Forebrain is called as prosencephalon. Midbrain is called as mesencephalon, and the hindbrain is called as rhombencephalon. Okay, and your hindbrain is again made up of 3 parts: cerebellum, pons, medulla oblongata. So this complete structure is your hindbrain, that is your pons, medulla and cerebellum. Clear? Your midbrain and your hindbrain, they together form a brain system. This particular portion is referred to as your brain stem. So this brain stem is formed by your midbrain and the hindbrain. So hindbrain, midbrain, they together form your brain stem. Now first part is your cerebellum. Cerebellum is also referred to as little brain. जो आपका सेरेबेलम है इसको हम छोटा दिमाग भी कहते हैं, पीछे साइड में यहाँ प्रेजेंट होता है. ओके, सेरेबेलम. क्लियर? नाउ सेरेबेलम इट कंट्रोल्स योर बॉडी पोस्चर. जो आपका सेरेबेलम पार्ट है ये आपके बॉडी पोस्चर को कंट्रोल करता है. इट कंट्रोल्स योर बॉडी पोस्चर एंड इक्विलिब्रियम इन द बॉडी. ये आपकी बॉडी में इक्विलिब्रियम and your body posture both are being controlled by your cerebellum part, and it has number of convoluted surface. आप इसमें देखते हैं feather like structures present है. If you look at it, there are feather like structures, so it has a convoluted surface, and this convoluted surface means it contains large number of neurons. Okay, it provides space for large number of neurons. That is why its surface appears convoluted. Clear? And as I told you, it brings about your posture. It controls your body posture and body equilibrium. Next portion is your pons. Okay, now look into the diagram. This particular portion is your pons, right? Now pons control your respiration. Pons जो है ये आपके body का respiration control करता है. Okay, and additionally it controls the activities of your eyes. So it basically has two functions. First, it controls the activities of the eyes, and secondly, it controls your respiration. The third portion is medulla. Now, medulla is connected to your spinal cord. Okay, this particular medulla is connected to your spinal cord. It controls your respiration, right? It controls your heartbeat, reflexes, gastric secretions, peristalsis. And also controls your salivation. Salivation means जब आप खाना देखते हैं तो आपके मुंह में saliva secrete होता है, that is called salivation. आपको vomiting होती है, sneezing, cough and sneezing, all such involuntary activities. Okay, all these activities they are involuntary, and all such activities they are controlled by your medulla. Now coming to your homework for dear students, first of all you will make notes of this topic. That is, you will make notes regarding your brain. That is your central neural system, CNS, okay, central nervous system. So you will make notes of this topic. You will read the page numbers 320 to 321. And if there is any doubt, anything that you think that needs explanation, you can contact me personally. Right, everyone? Okay, so you will go through this video, and if there is any doubt, you will communicate with me. So that's all for today. Bye, everyone.